for Graduate Testing 101 with the emphasis on the CBEST and CSET. My name is Cristina Villanueva. I am currently in the pre-multiple subject teaching credential program here at CSUB. I am pleased to introduce Dr. BreAnna Evans-Santiago, the chair and assistant professor in the Teacher Education Department. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Evans-Santiago.
Let's talk about CBEST first. So CBEST stands for the California Basic Skills Requirement. Okay, so California Basic Educational Skills Test is the official long-term CBEST. And what that is it's literally testing basic skills. So you might hear often BSR, Basic Skills Requirement, BSR. And what that's looking at is foundational math, reading, and writing. Okay. And for many, many years, you would have to take this no matter what. So ed counseling right? So you would need this for both special ed teaching, because this, especially when you're going in to work with other students or to work with people. And if any of you are going the PPS route, I know for sure. Student affairs, my spouse is actually in that. And I remember that they had to take this for the writing. Like there's a writing test when you get admitted into counseling, and there are different ways to prove that you have the writing skills, and CBEST is one of those. Okay. So CBEST can be used for like that writing test, or you could do GWAR, or you can do other writing tests, I think. But within counseling, you could double check and see what other writing can take place of that, but CBEST is one of those. I know in our program, it had to be a 41 or higher. So I'm probably sure that it's the same or very close to that. Okay. So you would need a score of a 41 for it to pass for writing. Okay. And so the cool thing about CBEST is it takes place in 3 different components. So you can sign up for math, or you could sign up for reading, or you could sign up for writing, or do all of them. Okay. Prices vary. Sometimes you have to pay a full amount anyway. It depends on what you're doing and the way it's split up. I do have on that document I gave you, you could click on registration and look and see what it costs. What are all the items there? So you could just kind of look at that and see what that looks like. Beyond that, for CBEST, this can be waived. People were asking, can we do something else in place of CBEST? Absolutely. Thank goodness that there was a light in the midst of our darkness during COVID, because the California teacher credentialing and whoever else in California, I'm sure the governor did these Senate bills, executive orders and things like that for us to get this going. And so we're really appreciative of this, because what happened was during COVID, people were not able to go out and take the tests, right? And so, but we still needed people out in the field. We still had to do our jobs. And so they had to figure out, what can we do to make sure that people can still move forward? Well, they finally did what we've been asking them to do forever. So there are a lot of teacher advocates in this space to make this happen. But now, if you've taken certain classes, they count for CBEST. That's huge. That was such a big relief for so many people, because sometimes CBEST can take a while to pass. Sometimes people do it over and over and over again, and they may not get there. So we're really excited that now you have this space to be able to take certain courses instead of. Okay. So I want to just kind of share with you the BSR link. All of you have access to this. Those that are in all of the programs, ed counseling, special ed, liberal studies, going into teaching, all of that, you all use this site. So let me just share with you what it looks like. Okay. And so can you see it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So this is on our website, and you could see at the top, it's under credentials, right? Because if you're all looking to receive a credential, this is where you would go. And so do you see right here where it says BSR? Remember, Basic Skills Requirement is CBEST. Okay. So BSR. And if you go down, it gives you all of these options. Look at these options for meeting basic skills requirement. So of course you could pass the CBEST. You could pass the CSET in the multiple subjects plus writing. You could pass it with the CSU early assessment program with the placement exams. You could pass it or waive it, or however you want to say, like it could take the place of or meets the requirements with SAT or ACT scores. Also, AP exams. If you were in another state and you had a basic skills exam, bring those scores. We could see those. Or by coursework and exam. Sometimes you're like, I have my reading and my writing, but I need to do my math. I think someone said that, right? So this helps with that. So down here, I want to show you this really cool thing that you actually have a link to on your document, but just so you can see. The coursework is what most of you will probably use, okay? If you went to CSUB, we have this whole list of approved courses for you, okay? So I'm just going to click on it to show you. And you have access to all of this on that document. This shows all the classes. We've spent a year and a half evaluating all of these courses for you. And we said, look, these match. So if you've taken any of these math courses, any of them, any across the board, they count for math. If you've taken any of these readings, they count. The same for writing. So use that, look at that and see what you've already done, because that might give you the upper hand. And maybe you just have to do one instead of three, right? Now, what if you took a class and you're like, you know what? It was a lot of reading. It was a lot of writing or what have you. And you're like, I think it should count. Maybe it does. Here's what you would do. That's Hamilton. Sorry. Here's what you do is during, while you're applying or what have you, you would contact Kate, our BSR and SMC person that evaluates. She's our evaluator and coordinator for these assessments. And the information for that is also on that file, that document. But you contact her and you share two things. You have to have both of these if you're trying to get your case clear. Like if you want this course cleared, you need your transcript, right? And it has to show that course and it has to show your grade. You have to have a B or higher. Okay. So your transcript and a description of the course. So you need it from the course catalog to be able to show what that is. That's where we would start. Okay. So if there's something there where you're thinking, like, does this count? You can ask, you could see, you would have to just send both of those items, transcript and a description of the course, because we would take a lot of time if we had to do that for every single person to go and look through different colleges and look through different departments. So if you just give it to us, then we could look at it right away. Okay. So that is what I wanted to share with CBEST. Those are the big things. Lots of various ways to be able to help you work through that. Remember, when you take these tests, there's a long period that you have to wait to redo it. Okay. So make sure that when you get your, when you apply or take it, that you give yourself enough time just in case you need to redo a part. Okay. Because you want to give yourself that space and grace. It happens, but hopefully you'll be able to utilize some of the stuff that we have. Okay. And again, so Tanya left something and said, not for student affairs. For student affairs, you do need a writing exam to get into the program. If that changed, let me know. But from what I know, that you do need a writing exam, and CBEST was a part of that. So you could utilize the writing portion of CBEST for that exam if you had it. So I'm just saying, so if you're taking it anyway, and you're like, look, I already did this, here's my scores, because some people might go into teaching first and then change their mind or, add on. And so just so you know that if you did do that, it could count for that. Okay. And let me see, were there any other questions regarding CBEST? This time goes really fast.
I don't have any questions in the chat. I think Eliana asked I think it was referring the classes you were going over, like that, the PDF file.
Mhm.
And she asked, is it just one from each section?
Yes, exactly. So when you looked at math and it went all the way across, just find one of those. When you looked at writing, I'll just pick one. You don't need it from every column. You just need one in general. And that will help. I think the way it's separated in columns is probably by year, like, if it's like freshman, sophomore year or what have you, or something like that. So it's if you have any of those classes throughout your bachelor degree, then it works. So that's a good question. And that helps a lot with that. Did anybody have questions about CSETs? Because we do have some people in here that are looking into teaching. And I know teaching is for CSETs, which is the subject matter competency. Pretty much if you graduate with liberal studies, you're good. And so just so you know that. And then also to share with anyone that watches this video later, with CSETs, a bachelor's in a specific content area will get you clearance for CSETs as well. So again, during this COVID time, they said, how can we also show competency in subject matter? And that was through that. So if you graduate with the bachelor's in those areas, then that counts. And so if you have for single subject, agriculture, art, business, dance, English, world languages, health science, home ec, industrial and tech education, math, music, physical education, science, and it's lists tons, social science or theater, any of those bachelor degrees would be able to count to meet the subject matter competency CSETs. So I wanted to share that as well, because those are needed for anyone going into teaching. And I'm maybe even for special education. I'm not quite sure some of those requirements. So if that's the case, then you could look into that one as well. Okay. Let's see.
I had a quick question.
Sure, go for it.
So I noticed that when you do take the CBEST, it says it's good, something about it's good for 2 years. Is that, I wasn't sure if does it expire and you have to retake it, or once you pass, then you're okay?
Once you pass, you're okay. I haven't
Maybe I misread something on there, but I had seen that. So I wasn't sure if I need to retake it every 2 years.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, keep those scores, and you should be fine. Because I know even in our program, it's 7 years before you would even have to redo a class or something. So that's definitely not the case with CBEST and CSETs. And also with some of those, it could be up to 10 years for your degree. So for subject matter competency, if you got a bachelor's in math over 8 years ago, it would still count toward your CSETs. So I don't think that that's the case, because if we're providing 10 years for CSETs, we wouldn't say 2 for CBEST.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. That's a really good question, because I would not want you to continue to take the test if you didn't have to. Any other questions?
So we don't have any questions in the chat that I see, but if anyone wants to ask a question, you can. If not, we can move on.
I did have a question regarding the setting of the test. Is this test offered at CSUB, or when taking the CBEST test, do we have to go to a specific office? How does the procedure go?
That is a great question. And I'm so happy you asked that, Eric. When you go to those registration links that I provided for you, they will give you places. You actually get to pick where to take it. We do not offer it on our campus, but we do offer it in Kern County at various places. And say you don't live in Kern County. What if you live in a different area? You absolutely can pick based on where you live. So that's the cool thing. So when you register, you look and you pick a place that you want. Some are paper tests, some are computer tests. and you could do either or. So just look through that, look and see if you need accommodations, make sure that you register correctly for that and that you ask for any support needed to be able to work through that. But some people choose a certain date and they're like, I don't care, I'll drive an hour because I want to get it done. And I see the dates here and I want this date because maybe you have something else planned or, there aren't more offered when you want it. And you're like, I want to beat this deadline and I want to get this done. So I'm just going to drive an hour to wherever, Visalia or something, and say like, I'm going to go to that one and take this one because I want to make sure I get it done. So you can look and plan on the date and you can plan on the place and then you choose to register that way. That's a great question. Of course. Any other questions?
I think I have a question myself. Okay. I know you mentioned paper test. I think because I have to take the CBEST as well. I was looking at onto taking it, but on the website, I think it says like they've discontinued the paper test.
Oh, that's new. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for letting me know that.
And then I'm not sure if you have any information on the fee waivers for the CBEST.
I didn't put that one on there. So let me get that link for you. The way the fee waivers work, it's not too long that they'll take place. So you'll have to kind of look into that and what that looks like. So let me get that link for you right now. And then we'll be able to like share that information so you can have it. And then while I'm doing that, Ileana, did you have a question as well?
Yes. If for some reason you take the test for the first time and you do not pass, how many times can you take the test to know?
I've had people take it lots and lots if they needed to. There's not a restriction. The only thing is, I mean, of course you're paying every time, but there's a limit, like there's a time limit in between. So you're not able to just like, oh, I failed it, let me take it again right now. Like you have to wait, before you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Let me get this link for everyone. So this is through the credentialing website. And so this link has frequently asked questions about the fee waivers. So you can start there and look and see. There is like a way to do it that you would have to work with the credential office to be able to submit that, or it's like a document that you need to submit. And I'm not sure if it's through the credential office or through CTC. So go to this link and look through and see what they're saying to do because people were able to get refunds. So if people took it through a certain date, I think it says as of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. Okay, so July 1st through June 30th. So not too long so far, but if you've already taken it and paid, there's a way to apply for a refund. And that's the way it works. So I think you have to pay up front. I know you do. You have to pay up front and then you fill out these documents and then they reimburse you. And they said they'll do it until the funds run out. So if you've taken them and you want that reimbursed, do it so you can get refunded for that. Good question. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Evans-Santiago. Thank you for your presentation today. And thank you guys for attending our session.